Hi everybody, this is Miss Hooper coming to you for your next bedtime story, and quite appropriately for a bedtime story, Miss Hooper is bringing you the bedtime story from her very own bed. I've just changed my bed sheets so they smell really nice. Anybody remember who this is? It's Miss Hooper's favourite bun. She's here to listen to the story. So today I have chosen a very special story. Now, the reason I have chosen this story is because we have started thinking about some of us going back to school. So if you're in year 1 or reception or year 6, or your mummies and daddies are a key worker, then the government, the people that decide how and what to do, they have decided that these are the people that need to think about coming back to school. Now, at the minute, your mummies and daddies can choose whether to send you to school or not. So some of you might be coming in, some of you might be staying at home. And the good thing is that in school, we have managed to make it as safe as we can for everybody that is coming back to school. And also, if you are staying at home, we are still going to be providing some sort of home learning for you to continue your learning journey at home. So that's really positive. So because there has to have been a lot of changes and things are going to be very different, I've chosen this because this story is all about being different. And the main character in this story is in fact very different from everybody else. Now, luckily in our school, everybody is still going to be the same. The one person that is different is that our new teacher, Miss Murphy, will be starting with us. And year 1s, you will be joining Miss Murphy's class for the next few weeks. And the reason that has happened is to keep us all safe, because we've got to stay apart from each other. And Miss Hooper can only fit 6 children safely in her classroom. So that is the reason why year 1s, you're going to spend some time with your new teacher who you'll have in September. There might be a time where that changes again and you might have to come back to Oak class for a little bit in the run up to the summer holiday, but I don't know for sure about that. So for now, you are going to be joining Miss Murphy's class. And she is absolutely lovely, so you're going to have a really nice time. In reception, you are going to stay with me. So, the story that I'm going to be doing today is Elmer. Now, Elmer is a very different elephant. He is a patchwork elephant, and I just love this story. And I know that Mrs. Garcia also likes this story. And it is written by David McKee. That is the author. So we've just talked about Mrs. Garcia. Should we see if we can name some of these colours in Spanish? I wonder who knows what this colour in Spanish is. It's yellow in English. What is it in Spanish? Amarillo. Well done. What about this one? Orange in English, but what is it in Spanish? Naranja. Well done. What about this one? Rosa. Well done. What about this one? Negro. Well done. There's so many different colours on here. If you want to, have a go at saying some of those colours in Spanish for me. I know Mrs. Garcia will be very impressed. So throughout this story, I have put little heart post-it notes because it will remind me to talk to you about some of the changes and things that are going to be different at our school. So, there was once a herd of elephants. Elephants young, elephants old, elephants tall or fat or thin, elephants like this, that or the other, all different but all happy and all the same colour. All, that is, except Elmer. And here I have a post-it note to remind you of some of the changes. So, we call a group of elephants a herd. And We're not elephants, we're human. But when we come together, we call it a group, and we just call it as being at school. Now, the reason I bring that point up is because your classes are going to be very different from what they were before. You might not have the same teacher. For example, my year ones will be with Miss Murphy. If you're in reception, you'll have me, which is the same. If you're in year 6, you will have Mrs. Hale. If you are a key worker child, you might be in a different class, but your teacher will let you know, okay? Now, apart from being maybe in a different class, your class will also be different because you won't have as many children in your class. Some of the children in the same year group might not be there. They might be choosing to stay at home, or their doctors have told them to stay at home. And some of the other year groups are not returning to school at the minute. So school is going to seem quite small. And it's going to seem very different because where we are used to walking around the school and visiting lots of areas and lots of different places, we're not going to be able to do that. Oak class will have to stay in Oak class and use Oak class garden as their playground. Sycamore will have to stay in Sycamore, and they've got somewhere for them to go and play for just them. Elm class will be staying in Elm class, and they will have somewhere else for them to go and play, which is just for them. So those sorts of things would be very different. Arriving to school is going to be different. Instead of lining up like these elephants are, like we usually do, that's going to change. You will be dropped off by your mummies and daddies in your car at school. You're going to get out of your car and you will see Mr. Smith on that front bit of the playground where we're dismissed at the end of the day. And he will show you where to go. If you're in Oak class, you are going to come down to Oak class gate and I will let you in the way we usually go home. So you're going to come in that way. If you are in Sycamore class, you're going to go through the airlock where Mrs. Renard's office is. And if you are in Elm class, you are going to go through the back gate to where our playground is and through the fire exit into your classroom. So those things are going to be different too. Let me put that one away. Elmer was different. Elmer was patchwork. Elephant was amarillo, naranja, rojo, rosa, violeta, azul, verde, negro and blanco. Elmer was not elephant coloured. It was Elmer who kept the elephants happy. Sometimes he joked with the other elephants, sometimes they joked with him. But if there was even a little smile, it was usually Elmer that started it. And I've got another post-it note here to remind me of something else. Now, when might you usually get together with your friends to do something like this? Playtimes, you're right. Playtimes are going to be different. First of all, we're going to have to try our very hardest to stay 2 meters away from our friends, which is going to be hard, and you're going to have to try and remember this when you are playing. We're not going to be able to have all of the resources out that we usually have because we've got to stop people touching the same things. Where you have your playtime is going to be different. For example, Oak class is going to stay in Oak class garden for their playtime. And your teacher will tell you where you are spending your playtime. You won't be able to mix with other classes when we're at school. We have to stay within our own bubbles. So Oak class and Oak children will stay together and only together. Sycamore teachers and children will be staying together, and so will Elm. So although we'll be using the school together, we're not going to see other people from other classes and we're not going to be able to play with them. And we've done that because we need to limit getting too close to people, limit touching people to keep us all safe. So those rules you need to remember, you need to be following them as best as you can, and your teachers are going to be there to remind you, okay? One night, Elmer couldn't sleep for thinking. And the think that he was thinking was that he was tired of being different. Who ever heard of a patchwork elephant, he thought. No wonder they all laugh at me. In the morning, before the others were really awake, Elmer slipped quietly away, unnoticed, which means the other elephants didn't notice. Now, I haven't put a heart post-it note on this one, but I have just thought of something. Elmer is feeling a little bit fed up. He's feeling a bit fed up about being different. When we go back to school, you might start feeling a bit fed up of how things are different. Which means more than ever, it's really important that you are talking to your teachers. You're still going to be able to talk to one another. We're still going to be able to see each other, sing with each other. We're just not going to be able to touch one another. So sharing those thoughts with your adults at home or with your adults in school is really, really important. Although we have to be apart, we are still a group, we are still a class, we are still a school. And in order to make this easy for everybody, we need to follow the rules, keep each other safe, but also keep each other really happy. And one way to make yourself feel happy is if you have a worry or you're feeling anxious and you're feeling a bit fed up with things that are different, then talk to somebody, okay? Share your worry. Because a problem shared is a problem halved, and we can work together to get you through those worries and sort them out where we can, okay? As he walked through the jungle, Elmer met other animals. They always said, "Good morning, Elmer," each time, and Elmer smiled and said, "Good morning," back to them. I've got another post-it note here. Now, when might you walk past people in our school? You're right, through the corridors. Now, in the corridors, we have our pegs, and in the corridors, that's how we get to other parts of the school. Now, we need to limit the amount of people going through those corridors. So, the first thing that's going to change is that you won't be using your peg anymore because your pegs are too close together. Instead, in your bag, which should have your water bottle and your lunchbox and potentially a pencil case in them, that's all you need to bring with you, that will stay under your desk because you'll have your very own desk with your name on it, and that will have to be kept in the classroom under your table and only you can touch it, okay? So we won't be passing people in the corridors. We use the corridor to get to different classrooms and different places. Well, we're not going to be going to different classrooms. We're not going to be using the school hall for assemblies. We're going to limit the amount of people moving through those corridors at a different time. So if you need to go to the toilet, we're going to be giving classes different times to go to the toilet. So only particular classes are moving through the corridor at any one time. And if you need to go to the toilet or those sorts of things and it's not the time, then an adult will have to go with you to make sure that the corridor is clear and safe for you to go through there, okay? So that's going to be different, and it sounds a bit scary, but it's not scary. It's just to keep us nice and safe. We don't need to be scared of anybody because we're all doing things to keep ourselves safe and clean. So don't panic about that, okay? After a long walk, Elmer found what he was looking for. A large bush. A bush covered with berries. A large bush covered with elephant-coloured berries. Elmer caught hold of the bush and shook it so that all the berries fell to the ground. Once the ground was covered in berries, Elmer lay down and rolled over and over. This way and that way and back again. Then he picked up bunches of berries and rubbed himself all over, covering himself with berry juice until there wasn't a sign of any yellow orange, red, pink, purple, blue, green, black or white. When he had finished, Elmer looked like any other elephant. So this part of the story, where Elmer is rubbing himself all over with berry juice, reminds me of another change that we've had to bring to the school. Now that change is all to do with hand washing. So whilst we're at school, it's going to be really important to keep washing your hands, okay? So when we go to the toilets and before we go to lunch and those sorts of things, in our toilet time, we'll be washing our hands with soap and warm water, and we've got to wash our hands all over for 20 seconds, and there will be people there to help you with that, okay, to make sure we're washing them for long enough. That might be your teacher or your TA. In the classroom, it's not always possible to get to the sink to wash your hands, so we have got special hand gel, which you don't need to use water for, to wash your hands. And you're going to have to do that every time or after you've touched something different, okay? So in Oak class, we're going to have a cleaning station with our special hand gel and with some special stuff that Miss Hooper will use to clean different resources and things that we're going to have out in the classroom. Now, Oak will look different because lots of our toys have been taken away for now, and lots of things have been covered up so that we can't touch them. There will be some toys to play with, but we can't share those toys with another person at the same time. You might be playing with something, and after you've finished playing with it at your table, it will have to be washed before somebody else can use it. And you guys can help me with that, okay? The same for our things outside. There's a lot less toys outside, and things you can't play with the same thing at the same time as somebody else. We have to take it in turns, and Miss Hooper will be there to help you with that. So that's something for you to be thinking about whilst you are at home. After that, Elmer set off back to the herd. On the way, he passed the other animals again. This time, each one of them said, "Good morning, elephant," and each time Elmer smiled and said, "Good morning," pleased that he wasn't recognised. I've got another post-it note here which says friends on it. Now, it's going to be so lovely for some of you to be able to see some of your friends, but you're going to have to try to stay apart from them a little bit. You'll be able to play with the children in your class, but where you can, you need to be staying 2 meters away. And again, your teacher will be there to remind you of that. And in the morning, some of the questions that I've had are, am I still going to be able to see you? Well, yes, you can. But the only time that's going to happen is first thing in the morning when I am on Oak Class Gate waiting to receive some of the reception children. So if you're usually in my class, but you're coming back to be with Miss Murphy, I'll be at the gate and I'll give you a little wave, okay? A little wave to say, hello, I'm here, this is me, that is you, and it's all okay, all right? So you might catch a glimpse of other people, but like I say, each class is going to stay within their bubble, okay? So although it'd be really hard, you can't hug your friends, playing it is something that can't happen because we can't be touching each other. So things will be a bit strange, but once we've got used to it, it will start to get a little bit easier. When Elmer rejoined the other elephants, they were all standing quietly. None of them noticed Elmer as he walked his way into the middle of the herd. Now, we've talked about playtimes, but when else do we all get together like this? Lunchtime, you're right. We're not going to be using the hall for lunchtime during this time. Instead, you're going to bring yourself a packed lunch to school and you'll be having your packed lunch in your classroom with your group. Okay? So you have to bring your lunch to school with you, and it's your responsibility to keep it in your bag until it's time to have lunch after we've washed our hands, and everything will go back into your bag. The same with assemblies. We won't be getting together for a morning assembly or a celebration assembly because we can't all be in the same place at one time. So those things will also be different. After a while, Elmer felt that something was wrong. But what? He looked around. Same old jungle, same old school. Same old bright sky. Same old rain cloud that came over from time to time. And lastly, same old elephants. Elmer looked at them. Now you're going to have a lot of questions and you might have some worries. And some people describe our worries as a grey cloud, but you need to remember there is always sunshine behind that grey cloud. And whenever you're feeling a little bit blue, you need to be talking to your adults about this, whether that's your teacher or your mummies and daddies, okay? Because we can help you to sort out those worries and answer those questions where we can. The elephants were standing absolutely still. Elmer had never seen them so serious before. The more he looked at the serious, silent, still standing elephants, the more he wanted to laugh. Finally, he could bear it no longer. He lifted up his trunk and at the top of the voice he shouted, "Boo!" So I've got another heart here and it says rules. Rules in the school will be a little bit different and your teacher will talk to you about the rules when we get to school. I've talked a little bit about some of the rules in this video, but each class will be slightly different. And it's really important for everybody to follow those rules, to work together to keep everybody safe and healthy. The elephants jumped and fell, all ways in surprise. "Oh, golly gosh," they said, and then saw Elmer helpless with laughter. "Elmer," they said, "it must be Elmer." Then the other elephants laughed too, as they had never laughed before. As they laughed, the rain cloud burst, and when the rain fell on Elmer, his patchwork started to show again. The elephants still laughed as Elmer was washed back to normal. "Oh, Elmer," gasped the old elephant, "you've played some good jokes, but this has been the biggest laugh of all. It didn't take you long to show your true colours." "We must celebrate this day every year," said another. "This will be Elmer's Day. All elephants must decorate themselves, and Elmer will decorate himself elephant colour." And this heart says celebration, to remind us that there will be an end point to this. There will be a time where things come back to normal. And although things have to be different for now, that's okay. And at some point, there will come a time where we'll all get together again as usual, and even with your families and with your friends at home. And the celebrations that we're going to have when we get there is going to be amazing. We're going to make so many wonderful memories. But in order to get there, we need to keep ourselves safe by following the rules. That is exactly what the elephants do. One day, every year, they decorate themselves and parade. On that day, if you happen to see an elephant, ordinary elephant colour, you will know it must be Elmer. Look at those jazzy colours, aren't they? Jolly. I think this one's my favourite at the minute, with the rainbow. Wonderful. So, I hope you enjoyed today's story, Elmer the Elephant, and I hope that you found me talking a little bit about the changes in school helpful. I've got all of my little post-it notes here. We've talked a lot today. There's going to be quite a few changes. So if you have any questions about anything Miss Hooper has talked about, you can email me or you can email your teacher. And we will do our best to answer your questions as well as we can. And things keep changing, so we're just going to have to be flexible and adaptable and just move with the changes as best that we can, okay? But at the end of it, you need to remember that your school and your teachers and your family and your friends all love you, and we're going to keep you as safe as possible, okay? Fantastic. Have a lovely evening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll see you soon. Take care.